Rumors circulated in the courtroom when Mark Agnifilo, one of Sean Diddy Combs' top defense lawyers, unexpectedly left a hearing in the midst of it. Agnifilo has long been associated with difficult cases, from well-known clients to well-followed defenses. Thus, his sudden departure is remarkable. Even while it's common for lawyers to quit a case under certain circumstances, courtroom withdrawals like this one raise questions about potential conflicts within Diddy's defense team, potential disagreements over legal strategy, or unforeseen dynamics in a case under intense public attention. This incident may indicate deeper tensions in Diddy's legal battle, which might lead to a shift in his defense strategy as the other lawyers adjust to a case that has suddenly lost one of its most important voices.
Referred to as, among other things, freak-offs. Now, you can be a freak and it's not illegal, but you can't force people to do shit. And this is what I'm getting at. When you have a lot of money and you have no accountability and you want to do whatever the f you want to do whenever the f you want to do it, I think you can go a little bonkers.
You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
I mean, he's complaining to a teenager that you don't really want to hang out with me. Okay, but he didn't do this. Just so you know, he didn't do this. He did not do this. He doesn't have... Oh my God. Look at all that baby oil. He didn't do this. He didn't... His bottles of baby oil for nothing.
And we'll fight every day. I don't have to fight anymore.
That means when he's out of money.
He's not afraid of the charges. There's nothing government...
Okay, that's just dumb. He's not afraid of the charges? Wouldn't you be afraid of the charges? Where are you? You're in fucking Rikers Island. You goddamn well better be afraid. They just executed 2 search warrants. They've got obliterated serial numbers on firearms. They've got videos and baby oil. You know, what he needs is somebody to tell him what the truth is. You are f***ed. You are absolutely f***ed. You're going to prison for the good portion of the rest of your life. I guarantee you, they've offered immunity to the people around him so that they testify.
With years of experience in high-stakes trials including trafficking, racketeering, and white-collar crimes, Mark Agnifilo, one of Diddy's main defense attorneys, has represented a lot of contentious clients. Agnifilo's prior involvement in cases like NXYVM, where he defended Keith Raniere, who was ultimately convicted of trafficking and racketeering, has drawn criticism, but it has also shown his ability to manage difficult legal circumstances. His participation in Diddy's case highlights the gravity of the charges and the need for a compelling defense. Agnifilo's involvement highlights the seriousness of Diddy's defense and the legal know-how required to disprove serious charges, especially when a defendant's history, reputation, and prior connections are investigated simultaneously with the case. Does Agnifilo's departure point to any flaws in Diddy's defensive approach, or might it be a part of a larger plan?
The point person behind that request and Diddy's team is defense attorney Mark Agnifilo. If that name is familiar to you, it may be because you've heard it before. He's repped several high-profile defendants, like the NXIVM cult leader Keith Raniere and Ryan, a former Goldman Sachs banker convicted of bribery and money laundering. We'll get to those cases in a second, but first, a bit about Agnifilo's history. He received a bachelor's degree in philosophy and political science from Connecticut College in 1986. In 1990, he received his Juris degree from Brooklyn Law School, and while there, even received the American Jurisprudence Award for Outstanding Performance in Trial Advocacy. Starting in 1998, Agnifilo began his work at the U.S. Attorney's Office in the District of New Jersey. There, he worked as the chief of Violent Crime Unit and specialized in cases involving murder, money laundering, extortion, and drug trafficking. During his tenure there, Agnifilo became a nationally recognized expert in sophisticated criminal prosecutions and the RICO statute, the very same statute that Diddy is now charged under. Agnifilo stayed with the U.S. Attorney's Office until 2006, when he began work at the law office of Benjamin Brafman, who, by the way, repped Diddy in his trial regarding the New York night.
Legal analyst Bruce Rivers has focused on the impact of RICO, the Racketeer-Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, and federal sentence standards for trafficking in his analysis of Diddy's potential consequences. Particularly when offenders are charged with many offenses that constitute a pattern of coordinated action, these regulations are infamously stringent. Rivers noted that if Diddy is found guilty of these horrible charges, he may face a life term without the chance of parole in federal proceedings. The gravity of this case transforms it from a celebrity trial to a situation where the freedom of one of the greatest music icons is at risk. Rivers' view, which emphasizes the prosecuting power of RICO prosecutions, where conspiracy may be sufficient to convict, weakens Diddy's case.
From the freak-offs, Combs, among other things, hit, kicked, threw objects at, and dragged victims at times by their hair. And you keep in mind, these victims are going to come in and testify. Combs and the victims typically received IV fluids to recover from the physical and drug use. I don't want to fuck him anymore. Too bad. You're going to fuck him some more. They also got 1,000 baby oil. They got terabytes and terabytes of videos. Remember I was telling you they got all those electronics? Somebody like this guy wants to preserve that. I guarantee you it's all there.
Diddy's RICO charges, which contain several allegations made under a statute often used to prosecute organized crime, are the prosecution's primary emphasis. RICO regulations provide prosecutors the power to assert that additional alleged offenses, such trafficking, misconduct, or coercion, were systematically connected to one another. This may make Diddy's defense very challenging. Because this strategy gives prosecutors more opportunities to connect the dots, it is difficult for defendants to focus on disputing individual allegations without addressing the broader alleged organization. As a result, Diddy's defense must deny the prosecution's assertion that the charges, which include possible systemic misconduct and alleged trafficking, are backed by a formal framework. How may Diddy's defense approach weaken a case constructed utilizing RICO's long list of linked offenses?
Diddy Combs will stand trial in May on his sex trafficking charges. A judge at a hearing in Manhattan set the trial date, also discussing a gag order imposed on prosecutors and the defense, telling them not to discuss the case or provide material about the case to the media, to the public. They contend that the government leaked a damaging piece of evidence potentially against Combs when a videotape from 2016 was played on CNN early this year. That video shows Sean Combs and his then girlfriend Cassie in a hotel in Los Angeles. It had been a secret, private for many years, but then it came to the forefront and was played publicly on CNN. The defense contends that that tape was leaked by investigators. Prosecutors say they have no knowledge of any leak, and they refute the allegation that they were involved in any leaks. The judge says he will consider potentially having an evidentiary hearing to get to the bottom of that. That won't happen for some time. First, the defense and then the prosecution will submit paperwork outlining their positions on this.
Since the start of the investigation, Diddy's legal team has been unwavering in their rejection of every charge. In public, lawyers Tenny Geragos and Mark Agnifilo have taken a strong stand, asserting that Diddy's case lacks the physical evidence often required in major cases. The bulk of the charges are based on circumstantial evidence and character accusations, which they argue are inadequate grounds for conviction. This strategy reduces the issue to a he said, she said situation and aims to raise questions about the credibility of witnesses and charges. These denials seek to alter public perception by depicting Diddy as a victim of misfortune rather than a major participant in orchestrated actions. Will the defense's adamant denial change the public's opinion and maybe the jury's perception? Or does the prosecution's case have greater grounds?
Recordings in Diddy's homes. Diddy appears to be a voyeur that likes to spy on people on his hidden cameras, which are wired in secret places all over his mansions. Little Rod's lawsuit revealed that Mr. Combs had hidden cameras in every single room of his home, including in the bathrooms and shower heads. The evidence revealed that Diddy had recordings of several celebrities and artists engaging in illegal activity. These individuals were recorded without their knowledge and consent. Mr. Combs possesses compromised footage of every person who has attended his freak-off parties, so the entire hip-hop industry could implode before our very eyes as the feds review the evidence. It was revealed that Diddy allegedly has freak-off footage of Beyonce.
Defense attorney Tenny Geragos has drawn significant comparisons between Diddy's case and the well-known cases of R. Kelly and Harvey Weinstein, both of whom were the focus of heated public debates and media attention. Geragos draws attention to the differences, pointing out that Diddy's case is said to be devoid of certain concrete physical evidence that was necessary to convict R. Kelly and Weinstein. By using this comparison, Geragos intends to steer clear of and reverse any parallels and distinguish Diddy's defense from the outcomes of other recent high-profile cases. Her comments, which frame Diddy's assertions as mostly circumstantial, emphasize the defense's goal to differentiate between factual reality and perception. Does Diddy's defense benefit or suffer by Geragos' parallel, considering the present strong public focus on high-profile cases?
It's not all the time they say this, but they say this is going our way, not the bail. They say we have them. We got a lot of people who are going to talk and say that this is what Diddy was about, and some people may pass it off as hip-hop culture, but it is a series of felonies and RICO. What do they have wrong?
They did say in court today they've talked to 50 witnesses. We said the same thing. We've been doing a parallel investigation at every single step of the way, talking to every single there's the same kind of universe of people here that he's been around. We're talking, working to people to show that we have a case. He's fighting, he's innocent, and he's going to be able to show it.
Innocent means he didn't do any of the wrong things. Not guilty means they can't make the case.
He's
right?
innocent.
So you think he did none of these things? He was never present in any of these activities? This wasn't his lifestyle?
But a lifestyle and being present in activities doesn't mean he committed a crime.
Unless those activities and that lifestyle are criminal.
But those activities and the lifestyle is not criminal. What was notable today, what my partner Mark said in court, is never once said that these women didn't consent to what happened. Not once.
According to legal experts who are not on Diddy's defense team, Diddy may get a lengthy sentence if convicted due to the gravity of the accusations and the federal sentencing guidelines for RICO and trafficking offenses. Experts point to a combination of factors, particularly the charges of misconduct and planned rude behavior, that heighten the gravity of potential outcomes. By offering a professional perspective that frames the trial as a pivotal moment in the legal history of celebrities, their public statements affect how the case is seen. Since expert opinions like these have the ability to influence public opinion and potential jurors, Diddy's defense faced more pressure as a result of these outside assessments. Does the involvement of legal experts affect the jury's and the public's opinion?
Turned raunchy. People were getting high. There were girls swimming topless, young-looking girls that were, not dressed. We moved to another part of the house so that he wouldn't be exposed to what was going on.
In later years, Diddy implemented a curfew for children.
The kids have like an hour left. So get extra comfortable, but this thing turns into something that when y'all get older, y'all don't want to come to.
I think he's a monster.
This week, Houston-based lawyer Busby says more than 120 people are coming forward with claims Diddy sexually abused them.
Our youngest victim at the time of the occurrence was 9 years old. We have an individual who was 14 years old. We have one who was 15.
Did Diddy assault you in any way?
When you say assault, I don't know the exact definition, but he put his arm around me in an uncomfortable way.
Diddy is now behind bars facing federal charges of sex trafficking and racketeering. He denies all claims of sexual abuse, including against minors.
Legal commentators who highlight the role that misbehavior and coordinated acts allegations play in celebrity cases have taken notice of Diddy's case because to its gravity. According to these analysts, instances involving RICO elements, especially when prominent individuals are involved, set a standard for how forcefully the judicial system responds to claims of misconduct in the entertainment industry. In this case, public opinion may be greatly influenced by analysts' analysis of possible outcomes and careful consideration of the defense's reaction to grave accusations made against Diddy's team. Courtroom strategies and jury selection are complicated by such outside comments. Jurors already struggle to maintain objectivity in high-profile cases, and media coverage that emphasizes expert views exacerbates this issue by potentially portraying Diddy as guilty before the trial has even started. In such cases, defense teams often attempt to offset this impact by focusing on destroying certain elements of the prosecution's narrative, especially those that may be grounded in emotions rather than facts.
Height of his career, still very much so an icon and influential figure. So she's just a young girl from Northern California who's gonna believe that he had done something to her like this. So she didn't tell anybody. She did not hire an attorney. All she did was make the police report in the hopes that maybe the police would try to investigate and come up with anything. But she said she kind of felt from the police that they were disregarding what she was saying, even without saying Mr. Combs' name. So she didn't feel any confidence that revealing his name would have done anything.
Sure. I mean, but there's a police report.
Yeah.
I mean, that fact in of itself is a big deal, because when you're talking about going back in time and talking about these allegations from other alleged victims, there's not a lot of police reports, but you guys actually have one. And is that going to be revealed? Are we going to be able to see it?
Yes, as soon as I file my lawsuit in civil court, I will be attaching the criminal complaint that was made. I'll attach the number so everyone can see that this is a real number and can go to the police department there and request their own copy of that police report that was made back in 2018.
Well, that's going to be a huge deal when it happens, obviously, so we want to follow up on that. Did Mr. Combs have any reaction? Do you know if he was interviewed? I mean, he was named in the police report?
I don't think so. Based on what she said, she really felt that the police were trying to bury this and disregard her claims and not really investigate, which is another reason why a lot of victims don't report these things to the police. We have to address the elephant in the room is that we have victims, especially women, who go to the police, who are typically men, who don't actually investigate these things. They victim blame, they victim shame, and women don't feel safe or even protected to even make these claims because they don't think they'll be taken seriously, nor will their claims be investigated.
Due to the nature of his allegations, which include trafficking, prostitution, transportation, and racketeering, legal experts say that if convicted, Diddy Shan may get a life sentence under federal standards. Particularly in federal cases where penalties are sometimes severe and cumulative, the most serious offense, trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, carries a possible sentence of life in prison and a minimum mandatory term of 15 years. Observers also note that the defense may still face challenges even if they prove reasonable doubt for some charges. Due to the cumulative nature of RIO charges, prosecutors often argue that even assertions with shaky ties contribute to an ordered structure. This tactic limits the defense's capacity to distinguish individual incidences as prosecutors portray them as parts of a more extensive, planned pattern. Ultimately, the combined influence of expert evidence and public opinion compels the defense to use innovative tactics to, in well-known instances, the prosecution's narrative, which deftly addresses every aspect of their case, may sway broader opinions about accountability.
Stories, because I think it's important to point this out. When you highlight and you talk about some of the charges that have been leveled against them, and you see some of the stuff that's being said about them. Look at this right here. Former Danity Kane singer Aubrey O'Day writes, "I never thought I would see this day," she told TMZ. "We all buried this inside of us in order to be able to keep going. And not just me, but victims you don't even know yet. We're all processing what that type of vindication can actually feel like now. Every conversation I've had with victims last night has been beyond moving on all levels." That was Aubrey O'Day. You know 50 Cent was gonna make sure his voice was heard. Clowning P. Diddy, taunting him basically, because he's long taunted P. Diddy for years over the harrowing allegations against him. And what does he say here? This is yesterday, 50 Cent. "Here I am, keeping good company with the Drew Barrymore TV show. And I don't have 1,000 bottles of at the house." 50 Cent was referencing the over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and personal lubricants for the freak-offs that the indictment revealed were allegedly found during the raid of Diddy's homes in Los Angeles and Miami back in March.
According to the indictment, Diddy reportedly organized events that included mistreating guests and even hindering the administration of justice as part of a criminal business. Legal expert El Honig said that when RICO charges and trafficking claims are combined, the defense has a major challenge since each charge increases the potential sentence. Diddy's imprisonment at the Metropolitan Detention Center (MDC) in Brooklyn has placed him in challenging conditions that are significantly different from his previous lifestyle. Well-known prisoners find MDC to be a hard environment because of its harsh living circumstances and restricted freedoms, which are well known for being restrictive. As Diddy gets used to living in a facility designed to limit external contact and maintain strong security procedures, he will likely need to make both psychological and physical adaptations. His focus reflects the seriousness of the charges, as criminals who are held without bail are often seen as potential flight hazards or dangers to the community.
There is a reason that people say you don't want to catch a federal case. If you have a federal case, the feds bring you in, you've been indicted. More often than not, I mean, what did you say the number?
95% of the time.
They're gonna get you. You're gonna be convicted of something. And that's what Diddy is facing.
Unlimited resources. It is hard to match that if you are a defendant in a case.
But it has been, as we told you at the beginning of the show.
John DeLorean case.
DeLorean did. So it can be done, but can it be done in this particular case? We said that Diddy has resources that will help, but if the case is as strong as it appears at this point, or at least as the feds have presented it, you would think there's no chance. But maybe they're not presenting exactly what they have at this point?
Well, the thing is, it's usually, in terms of public perception, the strongest the day the indictment comes out because you haven't heard the defense.
The public's reaction has likewise been robust. Comparisons to other high-profile celebrity cases put more pressure on Diddy's defense team to dissect the intricate accusations. Plea bargaining has limited flexibility under federal laws. The lawsuit will put Diddy's defense team to the test in a high-profile situation where popular opinion and legal realities clash, since agreements in cases involving forced trafficking might result in Diddy serving a lengthy prison sentence if found guilty. Collision's federal sentencing rules for RICO and trafficking allegations provide substantial issues since convictions for these crimes sometimes carry life or longer terms. Given that RICO guidelines contain cumulative sentences that account for interrelated behavior, the prospect of a multi-decade or life sentence in Diddy's case emphasizes the significance of the trial. Legal experts have emphasized how stringent federal laws may be, with little room for exceptions in cases involving organized crime. It will be difficult for Diddy's defense to refute each charge or cut the video for today comes to an end there. Avoiding the full extent of criminal penalties will depend on the tale of intended misbehavior. Diddy's defense team will be able to contest the federal guidelines and reduce the possibility of a harsh penalty in the event of a conviction. Stay tuned till the next time.